Arsenal trudged past Kazakh visitors Kairat in a game that felt like more of a training exercise than a Champions League clash. Mikel Arteta made 11 changes from the team that lost to Manchester United on Sunday. Sign up for the Arsenal newsletter. Thank you. Arsenal cruised past Kairat Almaty as Kai Havertz returned to the starting XICredit, PA. But his immense squad depth meant his side didn't look out of place on top of the European table. And even much-maligned striker Victor Gyokeres got a rare goal to put the cherry on the cake. Victory means Arsenal have a flawless record in the Champions League this season, 8 wins from 8 and only 4 goals conceded. They have also not been behind for a single second during the league phase of the competition. Read more on Arsenal. Here's how SunSport Arsenal reporter Joshua Hall rated each individual performance. Kepa Arrizabalaga 5. Had very little to do given the caliber of the opposition, but failed to save Kairat's early penalty and wasn't able to get across to stop the visitors' second. Kepa will have just been happy to get some more minutes in the tank after spending much of the season warming the bench. Ben White 7. Surprisingly given the captain's armband for the fixture, but put in a confident and assured performance to back it up. Most read in football. White is slowly getting back to the levels Arsenal fans saw from him in the previous few seasons. Ben White was Arsenal captain for the first half. Credit, Reuters, best free bets and betting sign-up offers. Christian Mosquera 6. Mosquera had little to do, but he still looked the calmer of the two Arsenal centre-backs in the first half despite the big gap in experience. There was one poor pass directly to a Kairat player in the second spell, but he still looks a steal for the £13 million Arsenal paid for him. Ricardo Calafiori 4. Straight back into the starting 11 after missing the entirety of 2026 through injury so far, and it took him less than 5 minutes to give away a penalty. The Italian was silly to grab a handful of Jorge Jorginho's shirt, perhaps a sign of someone who is a little rusty given a lack of game time. Taken off for Piero Hincapié at half-time, Ricardo Calafiori gave away a penalty when he dragged Jorge Jorginho down by his shirt in the opening exchange's. Credit, PA. Miles Lewis Skelly 8. You don't want to get ahead of yourself when the opposition are so far off the usual standard, but this was an assured performance by the 19-year-old. Lewis Skelly was back to his usual tricks of coming infield and playing penetrating passes through the lines. He put an opportunity on a plate for Victor Gyokeres, who somehow managed to get the shot to go out for a throw-in. Christian Norgard 7. Even the no-nonsense midfielder got to show some flair after his flick took out 4 Kairat defenders to play Kai Havertz in to set up Gabriel Martinelli's goal. Norgard hasn't played anywhere near as much as he would have liked to since joining from Brentford, but he is Mr. Reliable when he is called upon. Eberechi's 6. Ease has been a moments player since his arrival from Crystal Palace, with his North London Derby hat-trick the highlight of his season. But even here, against a team well below Arsenal's level, he failed to leave a mark on the match, something that is becoming an all-too-familiar sight for Arsenal fans. Kai Havertz 8. A first start for the German in 357 days, and doing so in midfield instead of playing up front. He flexed his playmaking muscles with his assist for Gyokeres' opener in the first few minutes of the game, before later reminding Arsenal fans that they have a clinical striker on their books. Took his goal superbly well, drifting into a great position on the right flank before coming central to bend it into the far corner. Noni Madueke 6. Noni Madueke took it to heart when Mikel Arteta said he wanted Arsenal fans to enjoy the rest of the season. The silky winger was pulling out every trick in his locker to dazzle the home fans and the poor Kairat defenders. The only problem is, once again, the end product was missing. Gabriel Martinelli 7. The Brazilian has now scored in 4 consecutive Champions League appearances. He seems to be at his best in Europe when he is afforded more space to run into. Victor Gyokeres 5. Perhaps one of Gyokeres' most perplexing performances to date. It took him less than 2 minutes to put Arsenal ahead, but even then, the ball had to ricochet around his ankles before he could get it under his spell and find the bottom corner. Nothing about the Swede ever seems simple, and it's not unreasonable to say he should have scored 7 by half-time. Instead he had 1. One of those opportunities could go down as the miss of the season, when he got on the end of a Lewis Skelly pass inside the 6-yard box and saw his shot go out for a corner on the far side of the pitch. It seems bizarre giving someone that scored such a low score, but Arsenal need their big money striker to be far more clinical. Substitutes: Piero Hincapié for Calafiori, 45 minutes, 6. A big improvement on Calafiori, who had struggled after so long out. He doesn't do anything too special, but you don't need that for games like these. Martin Odegaard for Kai Havertz, 45 minutes, 6. Made some nice late runs into the box to try and grab himself a goal, but failed to convert any of those chances. Brando Bailey-Joseph for Martinelli, 77 minutes, a special night for the 17-year-old who made his senior debut for the club. Not enough time to rate the youngster properly, but he's another exciting name for Arsenal fans to look out for. Brando Bailey-Joseph made his first senior appearance for SunSport AFP. Gabriel Jesus for Gyokeres, 77 minutes, 6. Always a nuisance when he comes on, and even had the ball in the back of the net, but unfortunately saw it ruled out for offside. Recommended stories: Ifeolu Ibrahim for Norgard, 89 minutes, a. Like Bailey-Joseph, Ibrahim didn't have enough time to make an impact. But the 18-year-old will never forget making his senior bow. Comments.